MAGA stands for Make America Great Again. I never thought that this would be controversial. It was first coined by Ronald Reagan, actually. What could be a problem with making America great again? Everybody seems to know we've lost a step or two since, well, a few decades ago when America was an undisputed superpower. Make America great again. What's the problem? Strong border, not getting into unnecessary foreign wars, and if we do, make sure we win them. Less regulation, less taxation, not sexualizing children. When I first heard about MAGA, I thought it was a message that could really bring the entire country together. And maybe it still can. Maybe. I mean, don't we believe in freedom of speech? This is by Norman Rockwell, and I noticed it as a child, and I just thought it was beautiful. A man, after a hard day's work, taking the trouble to go to the town hall, wherever it is, to say his piece about an issue of the day. What could be wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing. But freedom of speech is, as we all know, under assault, but I'm not talking about big tech. This kind of free speech, showing up at the town hall and being shut down. And it's happening all over the place, not just woke America, but conservative America. Midland, Texas, it's a fine town in the middle of Texas. What could be going on there? Well, the woke wave is in full force everywhere, including Midland. Have you ever heard of this book? It's called Push by a woman named Sapphire. Not too familiar with myself, but it's one of those books that certain high schools insist we must have it because it contains all kinds of, well, gross stuff about sex that's inappropriate for children. These books should not be with children. It's hard enough keeping them off the phone and everything they get there. Shouldn't we make sure that the libraries are desexualized at least? Of course we should. It's common sense. And when this brave pastor stood up to say something about it, as have so many Americans, well, he made his point and then something really bad happened. But first, let's hear this man speak.
My name is John Amanchukwu, founder of iknowgod.us. I'm here to read from a book entitled Push by Sapphire. This book depicts racism. It depicts incest, molestation. A father rapes his daughter and impregnates her twice.
Wow. That should not be in a high school. Now, I'm sorry, we're going to have to bleep out most of what he says because what he says from that book is, well, you just can't put it on TV, so therefore you can't have it in a library, right? Anyway, look like this.
Say you love it. I want to say I don't. I want to say I'm a child. But my grease and frying pan, he's again, he starts. This is a father talking about his daughter. Here it is, page 25. I've been knowing a man put his gush, you could get pregnant. I'm 12 now. I've been knowing about that since I was 5 or 6. Page 32, daddy put his in my mouth, but never hold me.
It's really horrific stuff for children. And by the way, the school board, who do they think they are? They're on this elevated platform like they're all that. Every school board in the country puts their people like they're on the global council or something like that. Maybe they're aspiring globalists. I don't know what's happening there, but all right. He has a few more points to make about the book. They're going to kill the mic, and then something really frightening happens.
This needs to be removed tonight. We have 6 men on this board. And I want to say to these men that's on this board, if you don't remove this book, you're either a punk or a pervert. Choose your...
So they just killed his mic. He's not stopping. Good for him. Time to go, sir. He's not stopping.
Pervert, if you don't...
That word pervert should be used more often because there are a lot of them out there. Now watch. The cops show up.
That's the truth. If you leave it in here, you're a punk or a pervert. Remove the trash. Take it out tonight. These students deserve better.
The state is showing up to shut this guy down.
Every last one of you.
It'll be removed.
Get it through tonight.
Hey, man, 2600 North L Street. Come by tonight.
I don't know what that was about at the end, but why did the cops show up? I mean, you're allowed to raise your voice. You're allowed to point your finger. This is happening left and right. Norman Rockwell, our founding fathers, anybody, every American should be totally freaked out. Can you imagine the cops showing up and telling this guy your time is up? But that's the new thing. Citizens, how long do we get to speak if we dare show up? 60 seconds.
It is up to you to be the next generation of victims or victors. And finally, to the board, this isn't over, and your policies are just as pathetic as making us wear masks.
Nick Gofford, followed by Ryan.
And of course, Ms. Goodwin, who says she wants no public input.
Thank you.
At other
Turn off
times.
the mic.
First Amendment.
Cottrell. Jennifer Cottrell.
I'm going to read things. If there's children watching, cover their ears. He began to
I'm
knead
going to
his
stop
fist
you
against...
right there, sir. I'm going to stop you right there.
Turn the microphone off.
Turn off his microphone, please.
Why? Great question. Can't handle it? Can't handle these words that you're exposing children to? These people are heroes. They're absolute heroes. You don't have to be in uniform. You don't have to be in the military. These people, they're great. They're fantastic. And Joe Biden is lying to the whole country about this matter. He lies about so much. Has he ever heard about age-appropriate material, right? You can read this stuff when you're 18. Children should not be reading pornography, Joe. This is how he characterizes it, so this makes him a liar. He mischaracterizes it.
Did you ever think you'd live in a country, now all kidding aside, growing up, where we're banning books, book banning in grade schools and high schools? I think it's unconscionable. Ever think you'd be in a political event talking about book banning? We're addressing how the growing threat to book bans may violate the federal civil rights laws. Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history.
You ever think we live in a country where drag queens show up to school to read to kids? All right. He's trying to make it sound like we're banning Socrates. We're not. We're banning sexual depictions that just, we know what we're doing. He doesn't. Maybe he does. He just wants us afraid. That is the theme of this administration, actually. He wants us to be afraid. He embraces fear. Watch this.
For unvaccinated, we are looking at a winter of severe illness and death for unvaccinated. For themselves, their families, and the hospitals they'll soon overwhelm.
Wow, a winter of death for those who make their own healthcare choices. This is the same country that gave us FDR. FDR had his problems, but he said this, and I like it. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Well, fear is Joe Biden's brand, and it's facilitated by the fake news. Now, I'm thinking about starting a new policy. I'm tired of consuming their material and being outraged by it, especially after the bloodbath gate from the weekend. They all lied about it. They all misled everybody. So they're to be discounted. Don't pay them any attention. However, I will bring them up when they lie about me personally, Greg Kelly, and this show, as they did in the wake of my spectacular conversation with Donald Trump. Watch them mischaracterize and misreport what happened.
In an interview last night, Trump was asked about Orban's claims, and he did not deny them. Take a look.
Viktor Orban said that you told him that you want to cut funding for Ukraine as soon as you get there. Where's that effect? He said that in an interview.
Yeah.
Is he correct? Is that the plan?
What I told him is Europe is spending a tiny fraction of what we're spending. And the European nations, as a combination, they should be paying the same because, you know, their economy is approximately the same size. If you add them all up, their economy is very close to our economy. Plus, they're in a lot more danger than we are. We have a thing called an ocean between us, right? And they don't. So they're spending, they have $100 billion, probably more than that, less spending on Ukraine than we do. They should be spending money. I had the same thing with NATO. They weren't spending on NATO. I said, you got to spend on NATO. And they did. Once I said it, I said, I won't protect you. I would not protect you if you're not spending, if you're not paid up.
And of course, no follow-up question. So did you
My God.
say it or not? Obviously, he said it. In this case, he who does not deny admits.
Okay, Joe says, no follow-up. Obviously, no follow-up. And Mika is so appalled by that. She goes, oh, my God, no follow-up. Of course, no follow-up question. They didn't watch the interview, okay? 8 seconds later, I followed up.
Europe is about $100 billion less in spending in giving money to Ukraine. And I said, that's something that really has to be taken care of. It's not fair to us.
So he was okay in saying what he said?
Well, it was okay. I mean, he gave a very short statement, a sort of statement.
You know, you may not like the exact wording, but that's a follow-up. I'm trying to get a clarification. Just wild. You know, I did a fair amount of media criticism, but when you do it, you got to know what you're criticizing. Joe and Mika, so silly, so I'm going to stay with them one more moment. So fake, so wrong. When they talked about the bloodbath, when he did, making that very fair metaphor about what would happen if Joe Biden wins. It was at a rally for a guy named Bernie Moreno, who's running for the U.S. Senate in Ohio. They said that Donald Trump ignored this guy, barely even mentioned him, like it was some sort of great big slight. Back to Mika and Joe and friends.
For the next hour and a half, Trump actually spoke very little about the Senate candidate there in Ohio he was supposed to support. Instead, he painted a bleak picture of America's future.
All right, Bernie Moreno, you just heard what they said. He spoke very little about this guy who's running for the United States Senate in Ohio. Well, let's go to the videotape, right, Warner Wolf? Take a look.
We're going to take that victory, and we're going to add to it with Bernie Moreno, who's a fantastic guy. So Bernie Moreno, we want to... where is Bernie? Is he around here? There is Bernie. And a great family. Bernie, I heard you're doing really well. I heard you had a great poll today. You got to win, Bernie. Don't leave me alone. Don't leave me alone, Bernie. And we have to elect Bernie to get in there and to seal our border, stop inflation, crush the deep state. This was supposed to be a little thing for Bernie. That is a... Bernie, if these people all vote, which they will, you're going to win. Man. Wow. Bernie is a political outsider who has spent his entire life building up Ohio communities. He's highly respected. Bernie will vote to save the American auto industry along with me. We're working hard, and JD and everybody else that's working on it. Bernie will be tough on China, ferocious on crime. He'll be great on election integrity. He wants to get wokeness out of our military.
And there was more. Remember, the fake news just said that he slighted Bernie, barely mentioned him. No, this was a great day for Bernie. Just ask Bernie.
This Tuesday, you need to elect America First champion Bernie Moreno to the U.S. Senate. And Bernie, if I could, I'd like to have you come up and say a few words, please. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Republican nominee for 2024 and the future 47th President of the United States of America.
All right, that's a great day for Bernie Moreno and for President Trump. And once again, we see what liars the fake news is, especially Mika, Joe, and whoever that lady is on the right with the glasses. Katie Kai or something like that from the UK. Very left-wing, very anti-Trump.